So this is what the roads look like behind the Russian lines on the way to the front. So Ukrainian drones are just hunting day and night. You'll see here is the guy's got a drone detector. The guy's got a shotgun up front, trying to dodge these FPV drones along this exposed road being watched by Ukrainian recon drones. You can see how successful they've been.
Well, this right here is the real-life Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And little do people know, games like Call of Duty right here actually serve as programming and military propaganda. Or we can actually see from multiple articles where video games are a key battleground in the propaganda war. As we can see right here, when video games went mainstream, the Pentagon realized their potential as a promotional tool, spending hundreds of millions of dollars on war-based games. But now the wheel has come full circle as they use game-style interfaces for real-life tools of war. This is why we see in Ukraine how gamers make the best drone pilots. Now, for those who do not know, in the late 1990s, the US Department of Defense was beginning to sense the power of the gaming industry over adolescent men, which is the department's main audience, and created a campaign of recruitment and manipulation around gaming. Now, serious institutional power underwrote the move to tie the global video games industry into the Western military complex, where we can see down here the Pentagon spent more than $150 million on military-themed games or simulations in 1999 alone, with another $70 million injection in 2008, and still more since, all on projects with their own very particular political agenda. Now, apparently, and according to a Mint Press News article, there are documents that prove the Call of Duty video game franchise is military propaganda. As we can see right here with this article, the United States Department of Defense has partnered with the makers of the Call of Duty video game to create military propaganda to further the interests of the U.S. empire. Documents obtained by journalist and researcher Tom Secker using the Freedom of Information Act reveal that the relationship between the DoD and the video game industry is deliberate and highly calculated. No, you don't say. Now, according to the documents, Activision Blizzard and Call of Duty producer Coco Francini was invited to the U.S. Air Force headquarters in Florida to discuss strategies for making the entertainment industry, quote, more credible advocates for the Air Force. Further down in this article, we can see that beyond influencing the games, Activision Blizzard's board is also made up of many former high-ranking U.S. officials. Now, apparently, one member in particular, Francis Townsend, is a senior council member and was, until September of 2022, Chief Compliance Officer and Executive Vice President for Corporate Affairs. Now, prior to working at Activision, Townsend was George W. Bush's senior advisor on, get this, terrorism and Homeland Security. Now, this right here is the Mint Press article that was being spoken about, which is a pretty long article, so I encourage you guys, if you are interested, to go check it out on your own, but I will give you a short little summary. Go over a few bullet points throughout the article so we can see right here a closer inspection of Activision Blizzard's key staff and their connections to state power, as well as details gleaned from documents obtained under the Freedom of Information Act, reveal that Call of Duty is not a neutral first person, but a carefully constructed piece of military propaganda designed to advance the interests of the U.S. national security state. And we continue reading down, they claim that it has been a matter of public record that American spies have targeted and penetrated Activision Blizzard games, where apparently there has been documents released showing that alphabet agencies have infiltrated the vast online realm such as World of Warcraft, creating make-believe characters to monitor potential illegal activity and recruit informers, where I guess at one point there were so many of them in one video game that they had to create a deconfliction group, as they were wasting time unwittingly surveillancing each other. If we continue going down, we can see that Call of Duty collaboration with the military goes back much further, where the documents show that the United States Marine Corps was involved in the production of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Call of Duty 5. The game's producers approached the USMC in the 2010 E3 Entertainment Convention in Los Angeles, requesting access to hovercrafts, which are vehicles later appeared in the game. Call of Duty 5 executives also asked for use of a hovercraft, a tank, and a C-130 aircraft. This collaboration continued in 2012 with the release of Modern Warfare 4, where producers requested access to all manner of air and ground vehicles. Now, Tom Sector told Mint Press that by collaborating with the gaming industry, the military ensures a positive portrayal that can help it reach recruitment targets. Where he is quoted saying, "For certain demographics of gamers, it's a recruitment portal. Some of these games have embedded adverts within the games themselves. Even without this sort of explicit recruitment effort, games like Call of Duty make warfare seem fun, exciting, an escape from the drudgery of their normal lives." Again, like I said, this article is pretty long, so I'll drop down to the bottom here. Video games are a massive business and a huge center of soft power and ideology. The medium makes for particularly persuasive propaganda because children and adolescents consume them, often for weeks or months on end, and because they are light entertainment. Because of this, users do not have their guards up like if they were listening to a politician speaking. Their power is often overlooked by scholars and journalists because of their supposed frivolity of the medium, but it is the very notion that these are unimportant sources of fun that makes their message all the more potent. The Call of Duty franchise is particularly egregious, not only in its messaging, but because who the messengers are. Increasingly, the games appear to be little more than American propaganda masquerading as FPSs. For gamers, the point is to enjoy this fast paced entertainment. For those involved in their production, the goal is not just making money, it is about serving the imperial war machine. Now, you may be asking, why am I bringing this up? Why am I talking about this? Well, it's because we do not wrestle with flesh and blood, but against principalities in the heavenly realm. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places." These principalities are working through different operations down here in the flesh. Now, as we saw with the original video of the war in Ukraine, which Call of Duty has completely desensitized individuals, preparing them for those images, we have things like this, how Ukraine relies on secret weapon in its drone attacks on Russia. What is it? Gamers. Xbox has given the Ukrainian military an advantage in its war against Russia. Foreigners with a lot of gaming experience have become a secret weapon for Ukraine in the battle that's become increasingly reliant on drones. The dexterity you get with an Xbox controller is directly transferable to flying drones. The best drone pilot I've ever met was a relentless gamer. Yeah, and that's by design. As we can see with this PBS News article, U.S. military focuses recruiting efforts on video game playing teenagers. There's always a deeper agenda and a deeper motive. Now, with that all being said, you can do your own research on it, but I'm here to encourage you guys to focus upon the Lord, fixing your eyes upon Jesus, for he is the author and the perfecter of your faith, and understanding that we are in a spiritual war, that we are wrestling against principalities, that they operate psychologically speaking through these different operations. So therefore, we need to be fully armored up with the full armor of God, which is the belt of truth, the boots of peace, the chest plate of righteousness, the helmet of salvation, the shield of faith, and the sword, which is the word of God. Realize that you are a soldier for the Most High, and there are legitimate principalities waging war against us, and we need to be on guard everywhere, looking at the bigger picture and the deeper agenda going on. So with that all being said, guys, I love you all so much. We live in a crazy world, the age of deception, so take heed that nobody deceives you. Love you all so much. God bless. Remember, the just shall live by faith.